Hey everyone, hope you're well. Haven't been able to make any videos lately. Just been busy and I haven't had much bandwidth even to watch. Like I've only basically today did which is the day I'm making this video, did I make any or have a chance to watch any content. So I'm way behind on other people's videos, which I apologize for. Also haven't made much of my own, but I thought I would jump in and do a tag and sort of get the ball rolling again now that I have a little bit of time. And thought I would do a tag, as I said, Mike tagged me on it. It is the where are you from tag, and I think it was Patrick Books Reviews that came up with this tag originally, and as I said, Mike tagged me on it. I also watched Derek Green's response to this tag as well. Both Mike and Derek have great channels. Patrick does as well, so highly recommend that you check out all those three channels. Great YouTubers, lots of fun, and yeah, just engaging channels. So I'll put links to those below, of course. So check those out if you have time, for sure, or make time, I should say. But I'm going to just jump into this tag here, and yeah, and so basically just questions about where you're from. This one is the first one is where were you born, and what was your town like? So I was born in a small town on the prairies of Canada in the province of Saskatchewan, little town called Tisdale, about 3,000 people. Yeah, farm town basically, and I lived there until I was in about grade 5, I think, and then we actually moved to the farm because I grew up on a farm for the most part. But the town of Tisdale, yeah, great little town. Sort of reminded me of Mike's video where he talked about riding around on bikes and, not really having street lights. Exactly the same kind of place I grew up in, although where I'm from, maybe you played a lot more hockey than maybe you do in the South. But yeah, I grew up Tisdale, and like I said, I moved to a farm when I was in grade 6. So lived, yeah, just the grain farm, and that's what my parents did until very recently when they moved back into town, as they've retired now. So I think last time I was there, I took some drone footage. So I'll just put some drone footage up so you can kind of see. This is kind of a autumn, fall, post-harvest bit of footage of what it looks like in the area where I grew up. And there's not a lot there. Anyone that's been on the Great Plains of the United States, places like the Dakotas will probably appreciate where I'm coming from on that. So, but it was a good place to grow up. Where do you live now? Second question is, where do you live now and what is it like? I live in the city of Calgary. It's in the province of Alberta, also in Canada. Much bigger. It's a city, I'm not sure how big it is right now. I feel like it's about 1.6 million people. It's got a pretty big downtown. It's like a head office city, and Alberta is really like an oil industry kind of province, oil and gas. Also tourism and farming, agriculture as well. So that's kind of the economy. And yeah, like it's a nice city. It's got a good airport that'll get you out of town. Close to the West Coast. We're kind of close to California. We're close to Vegas. So those are the kind of places that we go. San Diego, because those are only a couple hours away. So not that that tells you much about Calgary. Calgary is like, we're about, I would say, 45 minutes to Kananaskis country, like 45 minutes looking at about an hour to Banff National Park from where we are. So we're right on the foothills of the Rockies, sort of like Denver in that sense. So it's very easy to get up to the mountains if you like hiking and skiing and snowshoeing and all of that stuff. So yeah, just tons of outdoor stuff. And then if you go the other way east, then it's all open prairie. So it's kind of a unique city that way. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's good enough, big enough that you have stuff to do, but it's not huge like, Toronto or, Eastern United States, New York or LA, stuff like that. So it's a good size for a city. It's a little safer, less crime, I'd say. Yeah, it's good. It's a good place to live, actually. I'm happy to live here for sure. it's more affordable, and your money goes a lot further, even though we have Canadian dollars, which aren't that great. But yeah, Calgary, Alberta. Have you lived anywhere else? I've lived quite a few places. I think after I left Saskatchewan, when I left the farm, I actually went and I worked in Jasper National Park at the town of Jasper. And kind of my first kind of leave home job, I worked as a lift operator at a ski resort. And so I was kind of like all into snowboarding. And so I spent, the 3 years basically snowboarding and working at a ski resort. And in the summer, I worked at Moline Lake, which is kind of a famous mountain lake in Jasper National Park. Lots of postcard kind of shots taken from this place, and I worked in a kitchen there, so I had to fatten up for the winter where I didn't get much food. I lived in Vancouver, where I went to university, which was nice. Vancouver's a beautiful city. I lived in Toronto for a while, working out there for a couple of years before I moved back to Calgary. So that was pretty good. Any other, once I spent a summer, I lived just for fun. I used to be adventurous back in the old days, I think, but I moved and I spent 4 months on a island off the west coast. It was called Gabriola Island, and I worked at a little marina there where all these yachts that would come in they'd come up from California and the west coast of the United States, probably heading to Alaska or, the sort of the inside passage kind of islands. And so I worked at that little marina. It's called Silva Bay. It was super awesome. It was just a fun little 4 months. So yeah, I think that's basically it. Saskatoon, I lived for a while in university. Bunch of places, all Canada. I've never lived outside the country. Number 4 is who are some of the famous authors of works of literature from your home? If we're talking Tisdale, then there's nobody for sure. If we're talking Saskatchewan, I don't know. Guy Vanderhaeg is an author I really like who's from Saskatchewan. He wrote the novel, a bunch of novels, my favorite being The Englishman's Boy. It was a great book. A bunch of other books of his and short stories I really like. Jan Martel lived in Saskatoon for a while, and Jan Martel was the author of Life of Pi. There's probably more, I just can't think of them, but it's kind of a stretch to claim them as from my home, depending on how you define that. So that's question 4. Question 5, what's the book culture like where you live, libraries, bookstores, etc.? I think it's declined a lot. We still do have pretty much everything. We have the big chain bookstores. Then we have the sort of independent stores. I think there's 3 good independents left in the city, which isn't a lot for a city of 1.5 million, but or maybe 4. I think it's maybe fair to say 4 good independents that have really good kind of vibes. One of them is kind of a coffee drink shop, and that's kind of nice, and it's in a trendy area. That's probably the nicest one. Then there are still a couple of big, I think it's one bookstore chain, but they have a couple of locations of used books, which is good to still have a good, solid used bookstore. And then there's a couple of charity locations where people can donate, and then you can go buy books for a couple bucks, which you can check out every now and then, but it's pretty good. And then we have a huge sale. It's called the Big Book Sale once a year. I think it's in May. I think it's partially a library book sale, but then everyone donates, and they have it in a big arena, I think a curling arena, and all the tables set up, and so it's a bit of a frenzy. There's a brand new library here that's pretty fancy, like a big internationally recognized design firm did it, and so there's a lot of cultural, like book-related cultural activities and speaking engagements and author visits that are sort of run under that new building. And it's newish, I should say. It's new. I think, I don't know. Time flies, right? So I think It's still under 10 years, which in my view makes things new. But when you're old and in your 50s, the concept of new starts to take on a whole new meaning. So that's where I'm at. But I would say, all in all, it's a pretty solid book culture, and there are tons of opportunities to visit bookstores, sit in bookstores and have coffee, or buy used, or whatever you want to do, and just hang out. So that's the full set of 5 questions. I don't think that took me too long, hopefully. Anyway, glad to be back making videos. Really missed your channels and all your great content, and looking forward to getting back in the game. Tell me how things are going, and how you're doing. I know we're getting closer to spring, so it's February. And if you live in Canada, you think about spring a lot in the winter, but all good. And I think the last thing I'll do is I'll tag a bunch of channels that maybe haven't been tagged. I'll probably duplicate them anyway, but channels that maybe Patrick or Derek or Mike haven't yet tagged. And that's it for me on this one. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.